to another week of madness. Look at the smile on Rick's face.
I can't. I'm not even sorry. I don't care.
Rick is so very happy for a reason. As you guys know, whenever we have somebody on the show, we don't chit-chat in our little intro monologue there like we usually do when it's just us two boring slumps.
Yeah.
Last week, I was talking to Rick about messaging people on Instagram and giving it a shot to see who, maybe some people come on, maybe they won't, maybe they'll tell me, F you, go away. Maybe they'll tell me yes, like this gentleman did. He said, yes, I'd be more than happy to. And I messaged you right away, and he was kind enough to come on. He's legendary, top cut man in the boxing business for a very long time.
Yes.
And made his way into some movies that I think we know a little bit about.
Oh, yeah.
Rocky Balboa and the Creed films.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you haven't guessed by now, without further ado, we are going to introduce Mr. Stitch Duran.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, man? I see you guys are Rocky fans, man.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I had a privileged position, man, but you guys were everywhere, So, yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I messaged you, and you were kind enough to answer yes. Did you come on? And we're just very thankful for it. And as you can see, yes, we're Rocky fans, boxing fans, hence the name of the podcast. Yeah. But yeah, we have. Rick, I'm going to let you go. I know you're ready to burst. So
real quick, let me interject into what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Because I used to co-host a radio show called The 13th Round here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you told me.
Right. And, but what was cool is, I came in as a guest, and 10 years later, I left because I was so busy, right? And but the reason I always return phone calls is, I would get calls like Emmanuel Stewart and all these guys, and Emmanuel Stewart always returned calls. And I thought, what a classy guy, man, and I understand, So that's a pattern that I've kept just as a tribute to. Well, it's always been my nature anyway. But sure. Emmanuel Stewart, I know how important it was, and communicating. I was trying to communicate with you on my i11 phone.
We appreciate it. We really do. We know you're a busy guy, and we have the time difference. You're out in Las Vegas, so I know it kind of wasn't easy to mesh it together. So we really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me on.
So Rick, fire away there, my friend.
Yeah, I'm trying to contain myself. So I met you twice on the Creed 2 movie shoot. Okay, so the first time it was we were filming the scene where Donnie gets knocked to the canvas and Florian hits him when he's down on the mat. Okay, and it was, I think, about 11:30 at night. We had been there all day, and I was just exhausted, and as long as everybody else. And you came walking out of the back, and we were told, do not interact with the stars, respect their privacy, whatever. Well, you came walking out of the back, and you surprised the hell out of me because I was standing back there, and I just yelled, Stitch! I was so excited to see you. And you're like, hey, what's up, man? You were so friendly. And I was like, oh my God. And I went and I ran and told my wife that I'd seen you. And then the second time was we were filming, and we were doing the walk-up scene in Russia for Adonis, and then for Florian when they were doing the fire.
Yes.
Remember
that? Badass. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. And that's actually when I got my picture taken with Sly. At that moment, I snuck all the way down, and my wife kicked me in the ass, and I went over and I got his autograph. And after I got his autograph, I was standing there and I was dumbstruck. I couldn't even move. And you came walking by me, and I had my fedora on. And you're like, yo, Rock, looking good. And I turn and like, you're not Rocky. And I'm like, that was Stitch again.
Just waddling around.
I'm just like, it was just so cool,
Yeah.
It was
so
so
Stitch,
nice.
Tell us a little bit about the films. Obviously, you were in Balboa before the Creed film was even made, and you were Antonio Tarver's character, Cut Man,
Mason,
as you've seen here. And then, so did they go to you again for Creed, or talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, let's kind of go back some years. I've been in 7 movies. Actually, I've been in 8. One with Edward James Olmos that was independent. I don't even count. But the first one I did was, and they're all great movies, right? Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas, Play It to the Bone. And that was the day I was leaving work. I was leaving R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. I was with him for 23 years. I moved to Vegas to follow my dreams, and I was going to do it full time. The day I decided to leave that company, I get a call to go audition for the movie, and here in Vegas. So I went and got my cornerman jacket and did what I do, and I got the job. You know, Woody Harrelson's cut man. That was my first one. The second one I did was Ocean's 11, and that's when Vladimir Klitschko's fighting Lennox Lewis when they robbed the casino. Well, I worked with Vladimir Klitschko that day, and from there, after that, he told Emmanuel Stewart he wanted the cut man that was in the movie with him to be his cut man, and I was with him for 8 years after that.
Right.
And,
Right.
Yeah, and then I did Balboa when Rocky fought his last fight, and right here where I'm sitting at, Joe Cortez called me, the referee.
Yeah.
And he asked me, and I said, no, you know what? I can't go. I can't do it. I have a world title fight with Fabrice Tiozo in Paris, France. And then the week after, I'm with former gold medalist heavyweight from England, Audley Harrison. And I turned him down. And I'm right here. I'm communicating with the guys in England. But I called my wife at work, and I said, God, I can't do it. She goes, are you crazy? She says, Rocky's an American icon. You have to do it, right? And I thought about it, and I deleted my message to Audley Harrison's people about pay and everything that was details. And I called Joe Cortez up, and he got me the spot. And in doing so, I also brought in my friends Livingstone Bramble, the Rastaman, and Don House. That's a cut man for the UFC. But yeah, that was my first venture with Rocky. I was in Antonio Tarver's corner. But that picture you saw right there that you put on the screen, Rocky or Sylvester Stallone, he wrote, directed, and acted in this movie. And at this point, during the break, he's giving us instructions. And I don't know who took this picture, but the guy got it. And to me, it was such a valuable point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then, then I did one with Kevin James and Salma Hayek and Henry Winkler. Here Comes the Boom.
Here Comes the Boom.
Yeah.
That was a great movie. Great movie.
I did that one, and then I did Creed 1, Creed 2, and Creed 3. And they're preparing for Creed 4. And, Michael B. Jordan told me, every day I wrap his hands, just him and I treated him like a fighter, right? And but he told me, I told him after the second Creed movie that, I was so proud of him. He's directing Creed 3. And he looks at me and says, Stitch, this was during Creed 2. I tell him how proud I was of his. I'm wrapping his hands, Tessa and Ryan and Rocky. And he looks at me and says, I'm directing Creed 3, and you're with me as long as you want. I said, my man, I'm in. Right?
There you go.
But Sylvester Stallone, when it was time for Creed 1, remember when Rocky got sick, he threw up?
Yeah.
And, during that scene, we're in Philadelphia. We're at in the gyms at second floor, and it's snowing. So during the break, we're on the walkway going up to the stairs, and I don't know what the scene is. All of a sudden, I hear Stitch, and I think, well, I'm ready to go up, but that maybe it's part of the scene. But anyway, going back a little bit, during Creed 1, when it was time for Rocky to introduce us to Adonis, and my name in the script was Marcel. I don't know anybody named Marcel. I have to change that, right? But Rocky during that point says, this is Stitch, the best cut man in Philadelphia. Bro, if my heart didn't turn into gold, I don't know what did.
All right.
The next day, I thanked him. I said, look, I want to thank you. He says, hey, you earned it. It has to be authentic. So,
right.
Great memories, man. It's been awesome. And, I brag in jest, but I tell people how many people I've done 3 movies with Rocky.
Right.
Yeah.
How many movies how many guys I've done 3 movies with Michael B. Jordan? Bro, I have. Yeah. So that's the best. And on the funniest thing for being an actor, it's easy to play myself, but I told Stallone, now I'll tell you a story with Stallone. I love that guy, man. He's such a master, right, at what he does. So people always confuse me with the actor Edward James Olmos, right?
Yeah.
Yes. There's definitely a reason.
And I'll show you why. Because look, check this out, bro. Ooh, let me see here. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
And we turned out to be friends. I met him when I was with the UFC. Look at that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the first day, and then this is when we did the movie. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Sure.
So we're on break. Sylvester Stallone, his buddy Frank, me, and And we're in the back, we're talking to the makeup people, and Frank is bragging about me. Oh, Stitch this and Stitch that, and best cut man, and so and so. He looks like Edward James Olmos without skipping a beat, man. So that's just what I'm saying. He has his arms crossed. He goes, huh, more like Edward James almost, and walked away. So I think that is a slap in the face, but I have a compliment, man. And he was just, he was joking. I said, man, that's love. And I told Edward James almost that. So yeah, great memories, man. And that's why, thanks for having me on the show, because these are the stories I like to talk about.
Oh yeah,
and they all just happen.
Brothers.
Yeah, they all just happen.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
I remember I read a thing where you said that Here Comes the Boom, you had no lines.
Yeah.
And then Kevin James, and I'll let you finish that story.
Yeah, well, in movies, when you have lines, you have residuals. That's where the money comes in. You get paid good during the film, but every time, like that Creed 3, it broke all Hollywood records for sports movies. And their first residual check was a very, very handsome check. So anyway, come Creed, Here Comes the Boom. What happened is I was doing the UFC in the Mandalay Bay, and this guy wants to take a picture with me all the time. Man, come on. I said, no, just a picture of yourself. He says, Kevin James wants you in the movie. I said, oh, shit, I'm in. So I get the script, and there's no lines for me. And I said, whoa, I gotta figure something out, right? So when it's time to do our scenes, bless his heart, Kevin James pulls me aside and says, Stitch, we gotta have you see something. But shit, I had this in my head 2 weeks before I even got there. I said, this is what I tell the fighters is, welcome to the UFC. Yeah, that's great, man. Let's do it. So they call me in. I'm working on him, and Stitch, I can't believe you're working. I'm a big fan, so and so, this and that. And at the end, he didn't know I was going to slap him. That's what I do with fighters. I give him a little love tap. I said, well, welcome to the UFC. And I walk out. Everybody started laughing. Everybody. And that was my one and only take. So I call it my $1 million slap.
That's amazing.
That was great, man. It was a blast. I'm telling you, working with Boss Rutan and Salma Hayek and just all the UFC guys was tremendous.
Sure. Were you on set? I don't. You probably were there. I don't remember though. We had Kenny Bayless on not that long ago, and he was the ref in Creed 2, and he remembers the melee at the final take of that scene where Florian Drago, baby Drago, punches Donnie when he's on the mat, and everyone rushed into the ring. Were you on set with that one? There were so many people. I don't remember.
Well, there was a time when he punched him, and actually, I mean, in the first, that's when he had left Rocky, and so there was a time when he hit him when he was down, and then I guess it happened again on the second one when he hurt his ribs, when he illegally.
Yeah.
I brought in the ice pack, and I put it in, and then after the fight, he's all beat up on his knees. I go and I pick him up, and I, things that I do as a normal cut man.
Right.
And so the ice was all plastic cubes, so it was
cool.
But you can hear the sound of,
Yeah. No, I was just because there was like a final when Victor Drago punches Adonis. Adonis goes to one knee, he looks up, and then Victor comes in and hits him when he's on one knee on the canvas.
Yeah,
and then
that was when he left Rocky.
Yeah.
Were you on scene for that one?
No.
Okay. There was a lot of people. It was controlled chaos, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so it was so neat. It was just so much fun meeting you there.
It blows my mind. How do you think I feel?
Yeah.
Like your wife said, I mean, Rocky's an American icon. He's been around for almost 50 years. Yeah. He's still relevant 50 years later. And to say that you've been in 3 films with Sylvester Stallone, Rocky character, I mean,
and who gets to work the corner with Rocky? Bro, I did. And I told him, I said, you know what? Because we have a minute time to work the corner, right? Maximum. You get a minute break. So mentally, I already have it in my time clock mentally of what the 1 minute is. Stallone was doing the same. He was finishing the conversation in time for us to walk out under that 1 minute. And I told him, I said, look, man, you're doing a great job in the corner. And that's not something that, you don't learn. You're not given the opportunity. You got to learn that 1 minute. You just don't do it, But his timing was impeccable. I let him know.
Right. I watched some of your other podcasts and whatnot where you have that internal clock in your head, and you said within the first 7 seconds was it 7 seconds, something like that was imperative to get. You need to talk with the corner manager, because you have strategies, because you're just concerned about that boxer's face, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And then I mean that's my job, is to maximize every opportunity, right? And you have that 1 minute break, but I tell people, if you could get up there and start working on them within 7 seconds, you've maximized your time, right? And sometimes if the fighter, let's say the bell rings, he's cut and he's in the other side of the ring where the fight finishes, I run to that side of the corner. I'm already applying pressure as I'm walking down and sitting, so I save those seconds. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And but all that timing and everything is key, you know. And but when I work, because now I'm working with Top Rank, I see you got the Top Rank shirt on. During the COVID, they brought me and Mike Basil, and I live 20 minutes from the MGM, and they had 16 shows in the bubble at the MGM, 2 a week, and there was ESPN fights. So they asked me if I'd come on board. I said, yeah, why not? I created that program with the UFC, having multiple cutmen, and so they liked the program so much that they kept us. So I do all their shows, and but I work with a lot of young fighters, new fighters I haven't worked with before. So I'll sit down with them. And I said, look, man, I'll sit down with the team. I said, look, as we walk up the stairs, let me work on the right side. You know, you, the other guy on the left side, the coach in the middle. And then I'll tell the fighter, look, if you're in a very tough fight, I'm going to keep ice on you every round. I'm not going to wait till you start inflaming. I'm going to minimize that as much as possible. So I put that in their head. I say, hey, look, I'm there to take care of you like you're my son. And
absolutely.
I leave that in their head, and they understand.
And you said that to Klitschko, right?
You know what? It's funny you bring that up. 100%. And
because he in return said something very nice to you back.
Yeah. So what happened is Klitschko fought Anthony Joshua, his last fight, and he was the world champion, Wembley Stadium, 90,000 fans and all that. Well, I didn't get to London till Thursday night because my daughter Carla had gotten married in Crete. So I got in Thursday. So I didn't see both brothers till Friday at the weigh-ins. And I've been with them for 8 years. So I'm talking to them. And finally at the end, you know, I tell Vladimir, I said, look, I put my hand on his shoulder. Look, don't worry about nothing tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you like you're my son. And I leave because I know they can't sleep. I don't give up. You Russian, badass, I don't care. You still, they're gladiators, but they're all babies. You know, so I understand that, right? So I leave. And here I am, fight time. I'm putting the final Vaseline on Vladimir, and shit, we're this far. Well, he sees this tall, that far apart, and he says, "You could call me son." And man, that gave me chills. At this point. And one of the greatest fights that he ever had. And the last time I saw him in person, I've gotten videos with him, was in Germany, like 3 months later. And very simple, I said, Vladimir, that one moment, why? He says, Stitch, he goes, there's very few people I trust in my life. You are one of them. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So those are the type of stories. So, but getting into Vladimir Klitschko, I'll kind of give you a little heads up of things that have been happening now. Is they're filming a documentary on my life. It's called From the Fields to the Garden. I wrote a book called.
I was about to say the book. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fields, because I grew up as a farm worker in the Central Valley of California, and the garden was my goal to make it to Madison Square Garden. I've been there many times now, right? Been there for boxing and MMA, but when I got a call to from this producers that wanted to do the film, a week later after I signed with them, I get a call that Triple G is fighting, of all places, the Garden, and that's the premiere ending of the film. So we went and we filmed that. They gave us all access. The Garden, Triple G, the Zone gave us all access, and we got 3 days worth of filming in New York. Wow. Keep in mind, I'm a kid that grew up in a migrant camp, and here I am in Madison Square Garden, the subways, right? But we captured all that, and then COVID kicked in, and then after that we started filming. But so that's coming out, and but same thing with Klitschko. You know, I had a lot of great. Now I just talked to him because Michael's people, the Creed production company, is going to help us take it to Amazon and
nice,
get it out there. But as I talked to the producer and director today, and you guys are the first ones to hear this, except for my wife, is we're going to get Vladimir Klitschko We're going to finish up. We're almost done. We're 90% done with the film.
Okay.
And they just got to edit. But Vladimir Klitschko, Forrest Griffin, and we've confirmed Forrest already, and then Raul Marquez. Raul Marquez was my first coming out fight when I moved to Las Vegas 29 years ago. He defended his world title, IBF world super middleweight title, middleweight. And he had 5 cuts. Boom, boom, here and here and here.
Oh.
70 stitches. I talked to him today. 70 stitches inside and out. And I kept him in the game. People say, man, who is this guy? That was my coming out party. And of course, Forrest Griffin, big fight in the UFC that when he fought Stephen Bonner for the tough competition, he won and I kept him in the game. And so that was historical because now the UFC was born that day. And then another segment during the book, Tony, when he fights Shogun, a pride fighter against UFC fighter, and he pops that big vein that's very, very extremely hard to maintain. But I kept him in the game, and he sent me a gift card and thanked me at a restaurant.
Was that the one you said that there was so much blood you were getting nauseous?
No, that was another guy. That was Jay Haran. He fought Jonathan Goulet. That's another one. It's that vein. When you fight that vein, you're not going to stop it. Same thing with Jinzu, right? So I'm working with Jonathan Goulet, so he gets a cut about this big, but it popped that vein and it bled like a pig. And I'm working on him, and he has blood from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Both guys. It was that bloody. It was so much blood it made me nauseated. And, so he's happy now. The mat is in Randy Couture's gym, and Jay Haran. It's the bloodiest fight I worked. So.
Now, did you come up with? I couldn't quite figure this out. So forgive me on this. Did you come up with the concoction of the stuff that you put on the swabs? Was that your concoction, or was that something that just progressed through? Because I know that the stuff that you talked about prior was they were no longer letting it. It was no longer legal because it was causing. You said one of the fighters actually had part of his muscle or face cut out because it froze it or something. Yeah,
that's there's only certain items that are required that you could use, and I try to educate now because it just when I was learning to be a cut man when I had my school of kickboxing, I went Bone Crusher Smith fought Marvis Frazier. Richmond this guy in the earlier fight did a good job, and I went and asked him, "Hey man, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man." I had my school of kickboxing then, and I was a trainer, but now I'm making the transition. And I said, "Can you tell me what you did?" He said, "Fuck you. I'm taking this to my grave, and you got to learn like me." He walked away. Yeah, seriously. I've done this story hundreds of times, never mentioned his name once. But it just let me know I don't want to be like this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why I try to teach all the time. But there's a lot of, in fact, I told these fighters, I always tell these young fighters, if you're looking for a cut man and he puts a swab in his mouth or his ear and no gloves, get another cut man. That's old school. That's the blind leading the blind. It's the fool learning from a fool, right? Mm-hmm. And also ask them this number one question. The medication, the adrenaline chloride 1-1000. That's the main medication that we use for the most part, okayed worldwide. And that's the one you see in the swab and you put on the cut. So I'll tell the fighter, ask the cut man, what is the mechanical function of the adrenaline chloride 1-1000? And if he tells you, oh, it stops the bleeding. Yeah, but how? What does it do? Oh, it coagulates it. If he tells you it's a coagulant, get another cut man. It's the wrong answer. The adrenaline chloride 1-1000 is a vessel constrictor. So you see that picture with Vladimir Klitschko where I'm pinching on it? Yeah. That's part of the technique. Because what happens, and it's all common sense, bro. So you pinch it, right? And what you do is you get all the blood out of the little veins that are leaking, right? And when you put the swab there with the liquid, it absorbs into the veins and it closes them up, right? And so that's the process behind that. And if they tell you it's a coagulant, they're following the guys that don't know.
Right.
But there's so much of that in our sport. Keep in mind now, Tony and Ricky, is none of us have to be certified. Me as a coach, as a cut man, as a coach, best cut man, best trainers in the world, none of us have to be certified to be called
No
coach.
Kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, but your legacy will be just what you said. That cut man that told you F you, probably was so insecure about somebody taking his job.
100%.
Instead of somebody like you who's confident in the job, knowing you're going to be around forever, and your legacy is going to be like, look at all these cut men I trained. Look at all these cut men I gave advice to, and I helped get them up and boost their, that's just like in a sport. I mean, a good coach produces other head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that just goes to show you on how, insecure that man was. That's ridiculous.
100%, man. And,
Like,
and there's a
Bill
couple,
Walsh tree.
yeah. I consider him a role model because I don't want to be like this. Now, there's another one. Is you guys probably familiar with Randall Cunningham? So he lives in Vegas here now. Of course, was a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, but before I moved to Vegas 29 years ago, I school kickboxing. So I brought Dennis Alexio, that was the heavyweight champ of the world, and we fought in Vegas. And after the fight, me and my three brothers, I'm still Jacob. I'm not even Stitch. I'm nobody, right? We're talking to Randall Cunningham after the fights and just kind of gathering. And this guy comes up and he's all excited. Randall, come here, man. Let me introduce you to this guy. He says, hold on. Let me finish talking to these guys. Man, I never felt so important in my life. I just, me and my brothers. And he's a pastor here in Vegas, and I haven't met him yet. And I've done this story hundreds of times also. But I'm waiting for that moment when I do run into him. I don't want my brother son to go to, because he has a church here in Vegas. Okay. I said, nah, I don't want, hey, man, Randall, I want it just to happen naturally. I know I run into him, and so those two guys influenced my life of to teach and to always get back.
Sure. Now, I read something, I believe if I remember correctly, you pre-soak those swabs because the seconds are so precious to you. And that just goes to show you, being a master craftsman of your craft, you're that far ahead of the game that if you said that if your cut man is going in and swabbing while you're sitting there, he's wasting your time.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, to bring that up, Ricky, because I've done a couple of interviews. Now, GQ, instead of magazine, they're going video, right? So I did one video on Hollywood cuts, and they brought in Southpaw and Raging Bull and all these other movies, and I critiqued them. And I said, like Southpaw. I think Forrest Whitaker is the coach, cut man, and all that. And Forrest, he gets cut like right here, but when he's applying the swab is up here, And so I brought those up, but you see that all the time. You'll see guys in the ring and they're swabbing it right. They're wasting seconds, But like you said, it's a very simple sport once you break it down.
So speaking of critiquing the movie cut man and the movie fights scenes and whatnot, in Creed, when Donnie's eye was swollen shut and he couldn't see anything, I got two things. One statement is it's one of my favorite scenes when he asks him how many fingers, and you're telling him how many fingers. I love that scene. We won't get into if that's real or not. Number two, how does the makeup look in person like that? Does it look realistic?
Yeah, pretty good, man. The guys would come to me for advice. See, that's what Michael gave me and I gave him. That's why you see me and him together. He's using my tape. So we're helping each other. We interviewed him for the documentary. His people are helping me, and like Elizabeth Raposo, the executive producer, told the producer, my producer today, that Stitch is like family. So that's a real good relationship. But with Rocky, with Rocky, we'll go into that one first. I've told Stallone, I said, man, you know how many times I've had to dispel that myth of Company Mick? I said, because in reality, number one, the guy's eyes closed, you can't see, right? Yeah. So at that time, they should, when they stop a fight, it's because the fighter is a disadvantage. That's a disadvantage, right?
Right.
And so I said, so I had to tell them, not only that, but you're cutting them and you're doing surgery in a filthy place and you're not even a doctor, right?
Yeah.
But then now you have a double negative because now you get that blood. If it's not completely closed, now it's getting in your eyes, right? So I dispel that. Now the one with that just happened. What happened is Ryan Coogler comes up to me and says, what do you think? I said, let's do it, And I mean, it was one take only. What do you think?
It's one of my favorite scenes.
But let me tell you, the behind the scenes is when we go to the, when they show the movie, all the movie stars are there, red carpet and all that. When that scene came out, Schwarzenegger and all these guys, they're all clapping. So that just happened. I mean, Ryan Coogler thought, what do you think? I said, man, let's do it. Even Michael, when in this last one, he said, man, I didn't know you pulled the cups out, of the fighters. I said, yeah, that's to let them breathe. So we did that in the movie, as you noticed. And so, once I finished doing all this and, my hands are free, then, the last 10, 15 seconds, you pull the cup out and, just let it breathe better. So, you
Sure.
apply that in the movie. Little things like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, you brought a lot of realism to those movies, and especially you were talking about, I don't remember the name of the device where you push, and you said that you were looking at it because it was like flat or something. You wanted to make it so it was like one side was curved and the other side was flat or something because of the different contours of the face.
Yeah. Give me a second. Hold on. Let's see here.
Oh, he's got some right there.
Oh, well, I'm going to need glasses for this.
Stitch is going above and beyond, man. We're getting show and tell now.
I know, right?
There we go.
All right. So what happened is all the end swells are all flat, right? And of course, it's what I've been using. But I was coming back from a UFC from London, and we're at the airport, and I get my water bottle like this, and I'm there with Kenny Florian and Burt Watson, and I'm doing this. I said, oh, shit, man. It's curved right here, right? So I came home, I bought some clay and all that, and I made what now is the KO swell. See how it's bent right here? 90% of the swelling is going to come here or here, right?
Right.
And so it's curved for that. And then the thing about it, you don't do that. That's the wrong thing. Just cold, direct pressure. But if you need the flat side, which of course
you just flip it over,
has my name on it, you could apply that cold pressure.
Will that leave your name like indented in their face?
Yeah, I should have branding the
free advertising.
You'll brand them.
I'll put the blame on you.
That's awesome.
That's how that was created. Crazy.
Speaking of your brand, real quick, we're just going to throw this up there. You guys want to go to Stitch's link tree? He has instructional videos on there. He has his own athletic tape. You have the CBD cut cream on there.
Yeah.
And your book. You have two from Fields to the Garden on there. So definitely go on there and check out some of Stitch's stuff. So now your documentary, when is that going to be released? Next year?
Well, we're about 90% done, and I just got I got a nice sponsor that came in, producer today. Everything's been happening at once. Elizabeth has been communicating with the producer on our side, and I get this call from a sponsor. So that's all coming. But yeah, by the end of the year, it's going to be done. We're going to get these final interviews with these guys, and they're already cutting and pasting. And I'll send you guys a trailer.
Oh my God!
Send me a number. I'll send you the sizzle and take a look at it. But yeah, that's coming out soon. But yeah, things just happen. Like the cut cream. Well, first of all, when you go to the website, the reason this was created is the same purpose of me teaching, and I get calls and people. I mean, I get asked all the time, doctors, paramedics, nurses, everybody, firemen, everybody wants to be a cutman. And they'll ask me what they have to do. And I said, well, first you got to spend hours and days and weeks and months and years in the gym. You just can't, because you're a doctor or a nurse, you just can't become a cutman. But even a lot of the guys, like I say, none of us are certified. So I can't do seminars. I've done a lot of seminars, like hundreds of people that show up, and two in Mexico and Greece and Germany and London, England, but I just don't have the time now. So I put this video out, showed you how to wrap hands for boxing, for MMA, showed you how to work on the cuts, the swelling, everything that we talk about, and the tools that you need and the proper medication. Everything is spelled out on there for you to understand the game to protect that fighter as much as possible. And it's only $50. It's not even to make the money. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it so that you can learn to take care of these fighters. My money comes from other stuff. Right. Yeah. And even if you just want to learn how to wrap hands, you can rent it for $10. Shit, nobody does that no more. So that's available, and like the cut cream, people just come to me. The cut cream was created by these guys in California that has that it expedites the healing process of cuts. So when they called me, they asked me, "What can you help us?" I said, "What proof source do you have?" That's my work with R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. Yeah. Well, nothing. So I used to take Jay Washington to Florida for the bare knuckle fights when they first started before COVID. And these guys all got cut up, so they would sew them up in the dressing room. Jay would take a picture. A week later, them using the cream, and the results have been tremendous. So that's happening. And so, yeah, just everything to make the game better. Really, it's not about, making a lot of money. I'm not stupid. It's a business, but
Sure.
it's not what I'm doing it for. And I just got a message today from this guy that has created a cream for staph infections, MMA gyms and wrestling. And so I'm working with I just sent it to my partner to see what he thinks. Go, yeah, let's get a lot more details. So yeah, they're coming to me now because I know they know that if I put my name on it, it's for a good reason.
Right. Sure. Right. And you were doing like week pictures or like before and then a week later or something like that. And the results were remarkable.
Yeah. They're crazy, man. I see if I can dig some up as we're talking. Oh, and Vladimir. Let me tell you about Vladimir Klitschko. So in the movie, Michael came and asked me who should give away the WBC belt. So I gave him the story, Jose Suleiman and now his son Mauricio and so and so. So there was one Mexican, we're in Atlanta, one Mexican in the audience with a suit on about my age. I picked him to give the belt away. And he was happy as stuff, right? So anyway, I saw Mauricio in Dallas when Ugas fought Earl Spence, and I told him about what happened and talked about the Klitschkos because they're both WBC champs. He said, well, look, let's take a picture and let's send it to them. Because that was right when they're in the heart of the war with Russia, right? I'm going to let you listen to what Vladimir sent me, bro. And if that don't verify my relationship with him, just him and Vitaly, they're super, super, super good guys. But here we go. Oh, there we go.
With whom I spent so much time talking, and he actually saved my career on a lot of different stages. If Stitch wouldn't be in my corner, I would not make the record of 12 years being a champion. Wow. So that's so great to see you both, and Stitch is the man.
Powerful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Wow.
When you don't expect, about a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
How couldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you were just voted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame?
Well, in May, I got voted
National.
into the National Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, then with working with the Creed people, they asked because I had sent them a sizzle before the Hall of Fame. They says, well, can you send one with it? So that's included in the sizzle I'll send you guys. Yeah. So August the 10th, I'm getting inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. And to me, that means a lot because I made sacrifices to come to Las Vegas to follow my dream.
Right.
And this was, for them to recognize me for, the years I've been here, that's a big honor.
So is the statute 5 years to be retired?
I don't know.
He doesn't care. He's in.
Not my problem.
I know. Well, the reason I ask is because
awesome.
I work for the International Boxing Hall of Fame here in Canastota, New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I guess they call that the granddaddy because it's the only
international.
Okay. So when I caught wind that you were going into the Boxing Hall of Fame is what I heard. I was doing cartwheels. Yeah. So I'm like, Stitch is coming to Canastota. Yeah. And I was just waiting. And then it's like the last moment I found out, no, he's going to National. National.
Yeah, I saw Ed Brophy when we fought at Turning Stone, Top Rank Fights.
Yeah.
And he invited everybody to go. But, man, I had to start early with the fighters. I'm like the Marines. As soon as, first one in, last one out.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have gone by there. But one of these days, I'm sure I will.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I'm sure.
What a dream come true.
I just thought it was going to be this year.
Yeah. No, hey, Tony, listen, it blows my mind every day. I'm just a normal guy that I grew up as a farm worker. I was born and raised in a migrant camp. My address is CBC number 12, California Packing Company number 12, bro. So, so to come from those roots, and that's why I never forget where I come from is, notice all my fights on my collar, I had Planada. And Planada was the name of my little town. When I moved from the camp to Planada's like 1,500 people, all farm workers. It's for them to know I'm thinking about them. and
Yeah.
just always giving back. And when I did the Creed 3 movie, I went and bought 50 tickets, and the friends I grew up with in the migrant camp and guys I went to school with, we all went to watch the movie together.
Nice.
So that was cool. Yeah, those are the moments, and that really gratify me, and thinking, wow, I've been blessed, and it's nice to share my blessings.
Have they approached you for Creed 4 yet?
Yeah, Michael. I saw Michael when Shakir Stevenson fought, I think 6 months ago, whatever. So we go sit down and all that, and I said, okay, off the record, man. When let's give us a couple of years. So yeah, they're working on 4 now. So on that point, will Rocky come back? And there were talks. He didn't want to do Creed 3 because of some kind of, I don't get involved in that, but I guess they're looking at him making a comeback for Creed 4. How many guys have done 4 movies with Rocky?
We hope he's coming back.
Yeah. Let's hope.
I
Let's hope
tell
we
you.
do Creed 4. Yeah, but I think, and I guess they're supposed to have a spin-off with Drago.
Yeah, we saw something about that too.
That would be pretty awesome too.
Right.
Well,
that's always what I felt. I mean, I had a small part. I was an extra. I was Barclay security, but my claim to fame, it'll be on my headstone someday, was I was part of the Rocky saga. I was this much.
I can tell by your cap, man. You're a big yo man.
Oh yeah. So it was this big, but I'm part of their legacy.
Oh yeah. Listen, man. It's it's all about just accomplishments. How do you think I feel? I'm here and I'm thinking, wow. I'm looking at this. And I mean, like Woody Harrelson. And this was my first movie. I knew nothing about Hollywood, but him and Antonio Banderas are going through a fight scene and cut. And I guess he's frustrated. This is at the Mandalay Bay here in Vegas, and he's walking out to the back door. I yell like, "Hey, Woody, if you need help, I can help you." And I think I'm stupid on my part, Like you said, don't talk to the stars, right? But come on, Stitch. So him and I go outside, and I said, "Look, man, you just doing this. You got to rotate and make it so and so." And so at the end, they had the wrap party, and he had an 8x10 of us, and he Stitch, thank you for your help. You're so cool, Woody Harrelson.
That's amazing.
Things that happen after the events when they still think about you, like Forrest Griffin sending me, a certificate to a nice restaurant. Those are the moments that are precious.
Right.
Show their appreciation.
Yeah.
Any behind the scenes info you can share with from the Creed 2, 3, in the trailers or anything you're able to share?
I think everything is open. I just ask me questions, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, any funny things,
So I'll tell you one story. I'll tell you one story in the Creed 3 movie. So I'm wrapping Michael's hands in the trailer, and he's like this, and all of a sudden his phone rings, and hello, it's Denzel Washington. Oh my Lord, and I didn't want to say nothing, and I kept quiet, and and so he's talking to him. I said, wow, but I mean, there's
we're all fans at some level, right?
Yeah, of course, man. It was crazy, but just to have Michael, give me a kiss and I love you, and
that's amazing.
Stallone slapped me in the face by saying, everything's almost.
Yeah,
those are all priceless moments, right? Who gets those, right?
I like that you told him he had to dispel the cut me mix scene.
Yeah. So, man,
that is awesome.
I know that. I said, come here, man. You know how many times I have to tell people that was just a myth, that was Hollywood, because it don't happen. And even in the Creed movie, the one too, without that, he couldn't see.
Yeah,
the referee would have stopped it.
Yeah, of course. But it's dramatic. It's movies time, It's
it was great. I'm telling you, man, these guys, Schwarzenegger, they're all clapping, man.
Yep,
Wesley Snipes and all that, they're all there.
That's amazing.
It brings the realism to the film. It brings the dramatic excitement to the film. That's ultimately what it's about.
Yeah, I did watch your critiques of the the boxing movies from Southpaw and whatnot, and you brought the truth out on them. You're like, he's 3 inches above the cut. What's he doing?
Yeah. Even the referee for the Drago fight, when he's going to fight Adonis, he has black gloves and they're all wrinkled. I said, no.
Skin tight.
So I pulled them all the way back and I taped them, and then he put his sleeves over them, and they were skin tight. So you look at them.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't have that, man.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional.
Well, that's what makes the realism to the movies is when you have the real people who are doing those jobs,
Mhm.
you know, and to play yourself in a movie can't be that hard. And I know, but I also know that you said that you told, I don't know if you said it to Sly or you wanted to say, you can do more than just be a cut man. You could be a chef or something.
I was telling this last man, you know, I've been typecast as a cut man. I said, look, I can be anything. I can be a terrorist. I can be a cop. I can be, something like that, And but it's funny because I told this reporter one time that, and he said, why don't you just tell him you could be a teacher, you could be a so and so, something on the positive side. I think shit, he was right, man. So,
That's
Too
amazing.
Funny. Too funny.
It's been crazy, man, and things are they're just warming up for me. Great things are just coming my way, and yeah.
Do you have any collection, any type of collectibles, mementos that you carry from the fights, UFC, boxing, movies?
Yeah, they're all in the hangars, their own storage and all that. A lot of the fights, and I mean, I get every time like it's boxing, Klitschko outfits. I did 30 something fights with them. I give them away. I wear size 10, and when I get shoes, sometimes they'll outfit you with everything.
Yeah,
Nikes and Jordans, whatever. And so my son wears 10 and a half, so I get 10 and a half. And I wear them for the fight, and then they're yours. So you get top of the line stuff. And,
that's amazing.
So yeah, I'm not much of a collector. I have just a picture of myself there, and that's it.
Okay.
Not much.
Well, how funny is it though, Stitch?
Yeah.
You were connected to the Rocky world even before you were in it, because you had Andre Ward.
Yeah.
You wound up working with him, and he wound up being in Creed, obviously, as you know. And then, so I mean, it must have been weird seeing. Did you work with him on the set as well, or did you see him on set?
Well, you know what? The day I came in was the day that they were fighting.
Okay.
And but let me add, because the way I came on board is Ryan Coogler was training with Andre in Oakland, right? And we're from Oakland. I knew Andre since he was a kid, and Andre's the one that recommended me to be a cut man, and that's how that came to be. But yeah, I've known him since he was a young man, and he told me, he goes, when I turn pro, I want you to be my cut man. So they were doing that final scene, and so it was kind of, he's leaving and I'm coming in.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, but
it's pretty cool though, and like I said, you were connected before it even actually happened.
Yeah. Who would have thought? But that's just the way things are. It blows my mind. How things happen. Canelo, one of his fights over here, we're at the T-Mobile, and I'm in the back, and Shaq comes in, and hey, Stitch, I see you everywhere.
That's a good invitation.
Yeah.
I know, right?
When we did the first premiere for the Creed, and the UFC had let me go by that time, and he comes and shakes my hand and says, "Hey man, the UFC did you wrong." Oh, thanks, Wesley. How you doing? Nice.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the fighters agree with that and came to your side. And
even till now, I get stopped. It's been 10 years, going on 10 years.
Yeah.
I get stopped all the time, and still have me in association with the UFC.
Yeah,
I quit telling them I'm not with them no more.
Yeah.
But they keep showing so many reruns. I was in every fight,
Right.
Yeah.
in the golden era of UFC.
Right.
And so they stopped all over the world. I get stopped.
No
That's
kidding.
crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know whether to bring that up or not. So
No, it says shoot. It's in the video.
Hey, one door closes, right?
Yeah. So did you want to hear the story?
sure.
I'll tell you the story, all right? Because Dana brought me in. I knew Dana before the UFC. Right? He says he was a coach. Shit, he was in the gym. He was doing pads for the housewives and the executives. He was making more money than us,
Yeah.
So he was locked in with the Fertitas, Lorenzo and Frank, and their father owned Station Casino. And when he retired, he gave the casino to the brothers, and from there they expanded it. Now they got 18. They're billionaires. So they bought the UFC, and I was doing a K1 at the Bellagio kickboxing, and Dana's in the audience, and he asked for my card and called me the next day. Say, hey, man, would you be interested in being a cut man? And at that time, MMA guys didn't know how to wrap hands. They didn't know anything about cuts. So Dana was smart enough to bring in me, and then the original cut man from UFC 1 that they brought along was Leon Taps, worked with Bernard Hopkins. And So we started that program, and I was with them for 15 years, and we worked on sponsors. Everybody worked on sponsors during that time.
Right.
Fighters were making, 50, 100,000 a fight. The big guys, I was making. I needed the UFC to make my money because they were paying minimum. They were paying garbage, And so when they went into the Reebok deal, they didn't notify anybody. They just went exclusive Reebok, and everybody is effing the UFC and Reebok and Dana and all that. And they call the Cutman together to bring us all in from all over the United States, and they tell us the same thing. So every time I got sponsors, I would negotiate for you, Tony, and for you, Ricky, and not as much, but we have that billboard effect. And that's my working with RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company.
Sure.
And so, we did that. And anyway, they said, no, we can't have no more sponsors. And so I tried to negotiate for more money, and there's no money. And so anyway, I went home, and I knew I couldn't do it. So I got a call from this guy, John Nash, that I never met before. Matter of fact, they got him in the documentary, and I still never met him. And he tells the story. And so I did the interview, and it went viral. And I mean, it just blew up.
Right.
And I'm getting messages and support and all that from all over the world.
Yeah.
And my wife and I are shopping at Costco, and I get a call from my friends because we were all friends at that time, right?
Yeah.
And they asked if I had time to talk, and I knew what it was about because, God, I'm doing interviews. I'm getting all these messages, and hundreds. Biggest thing I ever made. So I get home, and right here where I'm sitting at talking to you guys, I get a call from my friend, and the only thing he says, and his voice is kind of quivering, is because of the interview you did about Reebok, the UFC is not going to use you no more.
Oh,
Always gonna. Right here. I said, all right, will you do me a favor? You tell Dana I said he ain't got no balls. That he should call me personally since he's the one that brought me in.
Yeah.
And I get this message, the first one I read, right here. I let the guy, respond and say, why don't let you know, you'll be the first to know. UFC let me go for speaking out about the Reebok deal. Got to find a new job. That went viral. I did 57 interviews in a week, bro. I had camera crews coming to my house. It was the biggest thing in MMA. Jeez. And then Dana, 2 weeks later, they go into Fox Network. And it's the first big show on Fox. And the dust is already settling. It's been like 2 weeks. And but they're interviewing Dana. It was this big of a thing. But what about Stitch Duran? Is Stitch ever coming back? Now, Stitch will never be back. And, if he was friends, he should have called me. And Don House is my friend and this and that. Anyway, and then down the road, he finishes by saying Stitch and I were never friends. And that's still slapping him in the face.
Wow.
But from there, I became the face of the rebellion. Try to take care of these guys, and people, they appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cut your legs out and all the other boxers because, like you said, with the
economics.
Sponsors.
Yeah, it was all economics, and UFC, I think they gave us like a $70 million contract that they had with Reebok at that time, and that was hard cash.
Jeez.
Yeah. And they probably got most of it in the boxers. And
boxers didn't get nothing. It wasn't in the contract.
Right.
Finally, they started giving them. I think if you win $2,000, if it was all garbage compared to what these guys were making.
Shades of Rocky 5, Tony.
Yeah, right. Crazy. Yeah. Well, like you say, hey, one door closed, and now look at how many others open for you.
Best thing ever happened.
Look where you are now.
Yeah, people always ask, "Well, have you seen Dana?" I said, "No, I haven't seen him at all." And but if I do, I'll shake his hand and thank you for letting me go because best thing ever happened to me.
Right.
And but it just represents, that I've always been here for the fighters' rights, one way or the other. That's my whole. My legacy is to say you made this game a lot safer.
Absolutely.
And you guys are So
that's awesome.
Is there
thank you enough, man. I mean, the conversation was just great. We would love to have you on again when your documentary comes out.
Oh, better yet, let's do this. I was just going to mention about 23 years ago, I put a film together called Boxer's Nightmare, and it deals with all the stuff that boxers go through. And I was nobody, and I did it with this young kid, John Barnhouse, that had just graduated from the American Film Institute. He was like 20, 21. And we did it on a zero budget. And we never did nothing with it. So John passed away about the last year. And I looked at this film as a tribute to him, right? And when I saw it, it blew my mind because everybody I have in here are all Hall of Famers. Some are already dead. And we talk and we have solutions for everything. But we had Mike Tyson, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, from Fernando Vargas when he was going to fight Trinidad. Those are the boxers. Now, the
Wow.
referees, Mills Lane, Richard Steele, Joe Cortez.
Oh, man.
Who got these guys, right? Emmanuel Stewart, Miguel Diaz. We had the best doctors, Dr. Omansky, Dr. Goodman, Joe Lewis's daughter. And all these people I got in the film, and we talked about everything from diet to dehydration to dementia pugilistica to contracts to everything, and they all had a solution. And so what I want to do is I want to now, as a tribute to him, but as education also, and I give it to everybody. I'm going to send it to you guys, and on your next show, let's talk about it. All right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And but it's what I want to do is get new interviews, because now, like dementia and contracts and everything that affects boxing is now affecting these guys in MMA. And I want to get current interviews and now call it Boxer's Nightmare 23 years later. Why has nothing ever changed? So yeah. So send me your email and your phone number on one of you guys, Tony, and then I'll send you the sizzle to my documentary, which is pretty badass. And then I'll send you guys Boxer's Nightmare. You can send it to him, and then we'll set up another meeting. Let's talk. I want to get the word out. I told you, education, and you guys are the mouth.
Absolutely.
But you guys, I can see just looking at your walls. You guys are enthusiasts.
Oh yeah.
You guys, what's a good giveaway, right? Yo.
Yeah. I know. What gave it away, right?
Yeah, we'll give it away, right? Yeah.
I have one parting question for you.
Stitch, that sounds awesome, man. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just one parting question. I would keep you all night if I could, but I know I won't. Is there a match, UFC, boxing, whatever, from the past that you wish you could have been in the corner for? Ali Frazier.
No, I would have loved to have worked with two guys, Roberto Duran and Alexis Arguello.
Oh yeah,
I would be happy with them.
Okay.
And
hands of stone.
But I'm happy with what I got, bro.
I believe Roberto was just at the Hall of Fame 2 years ago. Was it 2 years? I believe. I can't remember now, but I remember there was a big.
I saw him. Zab Judah fought Constance Zoo at the Mandalay Bay, and we're walking into the arena, and he's coming out of the restroom. He comes up to me, and in Spanish, he gives me a hug, and tells me how proud he is that I'm representing the Latinos. And
nice.
He leaves, and my buddy says, "Roberto Duran." I said, "Yeah." Kind of give me a heart attack, right?
Right.
Boxing royalty, right there.
Yeah, boxing royalty, man.
Man.
If you guys got a quick minute, let me let me listen to what Mike Tyson says in this documentary. And he was just phenomenal. He's quoting Nietzsche. I mean, who quotes Nietzsche, right?
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson quoting Nietzsche. But one of the questions I asked him is, how do we take care of these young guys? The pension plan, the insurance, and all that. And Mike's words. Well, I wish you could hear. You can't hear it. I mean, but let's see if you can hear the words. Can you hear it?
No, we really can't. It's very...
So it's
what we can do, Stitch, is like. Oh wait, go ahead.
Take a percentage, automatically take a percentage. Boom. But it's not necessarily for us. Not for us. It's for the less fortunate guys. Look, we're not gonna be that stuff. We look pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty broken up. What we can do is, I'll give you our contact info after we get off, and then you can send them over to us. I could break up some of the video that we could put on the show.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate it. Well, don't put it on the show. We'll just talk about it because I just talked to the ESPN people at the shows.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The director's watched it twice and he loves it. And I would love if it to happen to come out on ESPN.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
But let's talk about it.
Absolutely. We can do that.
Talk about it, and then same thing with the trainer. All right.
That would be great, Stitch. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
No, let's do it again.
We had a great time.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's barbershop talk, bro. Don't get
That's it.
That.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, man. God bless, guys.
Thank you again.
Thank you
Take care,
so
my friend.
much.
Adios.
Thank you.
Oh man, how cool is he?
Man.
Like you said, I could have talked to him for another hour, but
I know
they eventually want to go.
I know. I mean, we get these guests on, like all the stuff's just going through our minds, and
it's like I don't want to bombard them with, I don't want to fanboy too much, and I don't want to disrespect his career. I don't want to Rocky too much. Like it's like you're trying to find that happy medium,
Right.
which I think we did in the interview. You know,
Yeah.
we did. We had some good Rocky stories, some good Creed stories, some good real boxing stories.
Yes.
But I would love to have him on again, like he said, and we'll talk about his movie, talk about his documentary, and who knows, maybe even Creed 4. He'll have some more information on that.
Right. I gotta get the book. I want to read his book now. I didn't realize he had one.
I didn't read it. I knew it was there, only because of doing the research on him some more. But I didn't read it. I saw the title, Fields to Garden. But yeah,
sounds very interesting.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. I tell you, like I said, when I met him, you know, on set, seriously, it was like 11:30 at night. I'd been there since like 5 o'clock in the morning. And he came out of the back, and I'm like, Stitch! Everyone turns and looks at me, and I'm like, I don't even care.
Look how cool and relaxed he is. He's just chill.
I know.
I mean, he's super nice guy. So one more time, let's just put this up there for him. That's Mr. Jacob Stitch Duran. There's his Linktree information. His tagline is "Give the fighter one more round." His fighter is not Cut Me Mick. That was a great story, but yeah, man, fantastic. I can't wait till this airs and hear everybody's opinions on this. This was a good one.
Right. Oh God.
So we'll have to think of some more questions for him when he comes on again.
Looking forward to that.
Good stuff. Oh, he'll come on again. I know he will. And like you said, we'll talk about his documentary. We'll talk about his film and get more awareness out there for the fighters. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
So, until next time, my friend, another good one.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to watch it back.
I know. You know, it's so funny. You're right, because like when we're doing it, it's kind of like he says, barbershop talk. You're just in the moment, you're chatting, you're this, you're that. But when you watch it back, you hear the questions, you hear the answers. It's different when you watch it back.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
But this will be
I always
on.
try to watch you and not me.
I don't ever watch me. Trust me. I want to put here. There you go.
I know, right? We'll put a piece of paper over me,
right?
Too.
Right. All right, brother. I will talk to you next week. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope you enjoyed Stitch, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
Good stuff.